Man, it's a blessing to be able to meet your heroes, especially if they are actually heroic. Rudy Giuliani is one of those people. Just last weekend, I was with Rudy Giuliani in New York, and I have some major regrets about it now, and I'll explain why. This is my wife and I. We were receiving the Ronald and Nancy Reagan Award at the New York Metropolitan Republican Club. Sounds very fancy. I didn't really know what to say when they called us up and told us we were going to get this award. And I guess I said yes. And we traveled up there and we spent a night up there. And it was wonderful. Rudy Giuliani was also receiving, of course, multiple awards. He gave a few speeches. We were just a few tables over. And my only regret is not listening to Rudy's impassioned speeches about how to fix New York City, but not getting a photograph with him. As you can see here, the room was absolutely slam packed. And of course, Rudy was the master of ceremonies when you're in downtown Manhattan and Rudy Giuliani is there and he's cracking wise about the way the city should be run. Shitty is what New York is under communist rule. Well, and obviously he's somebody that commands all the presence in the room. And that's what he got. And ladies and gentlemen, I didn't get my photo or a chance to really talk with Rudy. And I hope I will get a chance to do that again. Rudy Giuliani, who is 81 years old, has been suffering some pretty poor health, even though he was in great spirits just last weekend. Rudy Giuliani was in a terrible car accident, broke his knee and his back in New Hampshire. He had his car sitting on the side of the road. He was attending to a domestic dispute, didn't have anything to do with him, but he's just a good dude. He stopped and a vehicle smashed into his vehicle. He broke his back, which is something horrible to happen when you are, sort of advanced in age, at any age, but when you're advanced in age. And now Donald Trump has announced that Rudy Giuliani is in critical condition in the hospital, and we don't know exactly why. Again, he seemed spry and in great spirits last weekend. He stood up on stage right in front of me and gave like at least an hour's worth of remarks. And he did have, of course, no notes. And so he was totally with it. The room was roaring. He was thrown to the New York Police Department and to various members of the audience and calling people up and everything like that. And telling a couple jokes about me because he appears on my podcast. He appears on the stream all the time. He's been on the show, I don't know, a dozen times at least. We love Rudy. Love Rudy. So this is tough to see. Let me read this. Our fabulous Rudy Giuliani, a true warrior and the best mayor in the history of New York by far, has been hospitalized and is in critical condition. What a tragedy that he was treated so badly by the radical left, lunatics, Democrats, all. And he was right about everything. They cheated in the elections, fabricated hundreds of stories, did anything possible to destroy our nation. And now look at Rudy. So sad, President Trump. President Trump stating this, less than an hour ago, it seemingly like perhaps he knows something more than the press is letting on. So the press is saying Giuliani hospitalized in critical condition. But Donald Trump is saying it almost like a eulogy, and I'm just reading into it here, right? He's saying that like look at what's happened, look at what they did to Rudy, and that like they went after him so hard and tried to destroy him, and they locked him up and they gave him a mugshot, Fannie Willis, and she deserves to be prosecuted for what she did. Anyway, she gave Rudy a mugshot. The New York Post, you'd assume, would have something else on this story. Let's go ahead and see. Trump praised Giuliani on social media. Eric Adams wished Rudy a speedy recovery. We may not always agree, but this moment rises above politics. On behalf of Eric Adams, we are wishing strength and full recovery to Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani has been hospitalized in critical but stable condition. Again, obviously, Rudy Giuliani is the absolute legend and a ride or die friend of Donald Trump. Rudy, you got to watch. You got to watch out. You never know who's behind you, right? You got to be careful. No idea if this is connected. No idea if it's connected. Gallows humor is what it's called. This is Ted Goodman. Ted Goodman is somebody who has worked as sort of a spokesperson for Rudy Giuliani. I don't know him, but he says Rudy Giuliani he's in the hospital. He remains in critical condition, but he's stable. Okay. Mayor Giuliani is a fighter who's faced every challenge in his life with unwavering strength, and he's fighting with the same level of strength as we speak. We do ask that you join us in prayer for America's Mayor, Rudy Giuliani. So that's not a lot of information. Cause is still unknown. Rudy, again, is up there, right? And it's going to be really bitter for me if things go south here. We love Rudy. He's obviously been a dear friend of us and the program, and we are praying for him. Cause of hospitalization currently unknown. Says that he's fighting with a lot of strength, but he's in critical condition. Okay. New York City mayor is in critical but stable condition. Okay. I'm not really sure what that means exactly. Giuliani's 81 years old. Pray, 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 pray. Okay. We don't know. Just last week, Giuliani received the Donald J. Trump Commander-in-Chief Award from the Metropolitan Republican Club. Gave an acceptance speech. He was in good shape. I can confirm this. He was in good shape. I saw him in good shape. And I mean, the room was packed, and there were too many people talking to it. So it was like I didn't get a chance to get a photo or do anything other than clap him on the back, right, and say what's up. So okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wonder what they actually did to Rudy Giuliani, he did talk about it, of course, on the show. He talked about how the reason why the left went after him so hard was because he found a ballot factory that was being created in Georgia where they were just printing off the ballots to fake election votes. If you're wondering why they wanted to destroy this man, here's why. Would you give us the evidence? I mean, would you elucidate for us? There's a factory that was printing ballots?
That's an allegation.
Okay.
We've never able to prove that. But that's an allegation we have from 4 or 5 witnesses, and we wanted to get a warrant.
It makes sense.
But do I believe that one is one I probably believe is true. And I also believe that the ballots are phony, because if they weren't phony, they'd have turned them over to us on day one. They wouldn't have fought 20 battles to keep in front of us. They wouldn't have thrown our expert out when he showed up there with a machine that scared the hell out of them. It was a machine that would tell you if the same stationery was used. There was one stationery that was approved as the ballot. This machine could take all the ballots, put them through, and it could spit out the ones that were different stationery. And some of the reasonable people in Georgia agreed to that. And we were all set to do it. And the morning that Pulitzer showed up, the guy who was going to do it, they had the state police there. I think the governor sent them.